Notes 1994 wrote, I have a question regarding kettlebell training and how effective this type of training is when looking at supplementing your running.
Ah, the long distance boys, trying to sneak in the old weights, eh? I feel ya.
I come from an athletic background, running at a fairly high level, managing a 10.68 100-meter time.
What? He's fast! Don't tell him nothing!
I also used a lot of hip hinge exercises such as hanging cleans or power cleans to supplement my sprinting.
Oh, been there, done that. Bought the bog brush.
However, kettlebells weren't all the rage compared to what they are now, thanks to CrossFitters.
Yeah, you go CrossFit. CrossFit's cool. No more sprinting.
So ultimately, I'm wondering how effective you think, say, 32 kilo kettlebell swings for supplementing running are.
32 kilos? For running? How effective is that?
Thanks for the question. Seems quite simple. Basically, there are two parts. 1. Do kettlebell swings aid running? 2. Is 32 kilos effective? But this is incredibly difficult to answer for multiple reasons. Not least because proper data is scarce, and worse, the info on it all conflicts. It got so bad I considered using just political skills and evading the question altogether and asking my own instead, putting all the responsibility back on you.
Precisely. Best way. And that question is, how are you swinging?
Right. The comfort that I could luxuriate in the idea that your how takes top place in any consideration of effectiveness. I don't even have to jump across my bonnet in full federal form police mode yelling, "Hey, your swings are suspicious. Have to take you in for further questioning." Uttering form seems to be like calling racism today. Just the whisper of it takes all the pressure off me. You're tied up in knots, and I'm apparently the hero. But then I stumbled across this study on 60 to 80-year-olds that concluded that the how wasn't even that important. These retirees did the swings with whatever form they could muster and still got the benefits. And their form was, well, let's just say, less than ideal. A lot less. And good lord, if form isn't my get out of jail free card, what am I going to do?
It's obvious. Invent a reason why it's the exception, not the rule, then you can discount it. That's what we do with inconvenient studies.
Okay, well, I guess we could put that finding down to the age range. God bless those golden ages for doing anything, because that's better than nothing, as long as they didn't trash their bodies, which they didn't because they kept the weight modest. They've just reversed their age curse and swung to success. But as you're an ex-athlete looking to improve running performance, rather than just postpone your date with Lady Death, I'm going to suggest that the how is a little more important. Because if there's one thing the general fitness community does report, it's getting bashed up by bells. And as one who's looking to do 32 kilos of swinging, which is definitely a big boy bell, form is a consideration not to be ignored. But then from watching enough experts talking about how to swing these handle cannons, it's clear as 4K that there's no one right way. It all depends on what you're trying to achieve. Because let me tell you, there's a hard style, the sports style, and the hybrid swing. And that is too many potential variables and possible rabbit holes to disappear down. And I'm also taking a vow of silence on style because, judging by the virtue being signalled in the kettlebell video comment section, these bell swingers think they're on the path to paradise. And the only path is their bell path. So, back to your question. I noticed that you used the word running having previously referred to sprinting, making a distinction. I'm going to assume that you no longer sprint and are in fact talking about efforts over 3 minutes. which makes it aerobic running. So, will any of these types of swings help that? Again, we're swamped in conflicting info and nothing conclusive. Unbelievable! When these bellas find a whiff of a benefit, they're not sure about selling it.
High blood pressure? Kettlebell. Looking for the cure for cancer? Kettlebells. Want the life of your dreams? Kettlebells. And swing trains. Hurry! Buy my new book! It's a swing thing. Only $15.99 with free one-day delivery. Estimated shipping 7 to 8 weeks.
If they had conclusive evidence that swinging a Russian munition between your legs outright definitely improved your speed, you wouldn't hear the end of it.
This is Frida Megan. She started doing kettlebells 3 weeks ago. Now we call her Fast Frida. At this rate, she'll beat Bolt's world record by the end of the month.
But I haven't really heard that. All I've heard is vague whisperings about getting better at running, but that could just be down to fitness improvements. And I think that the reason it's not conclusive is because the bell's deceptive. When you swing it, it might look like it's traveling horizontally as well as vertically, which would lead you to think it could help horizontal movement like running. But surprisingly, the horizontal displacement comes from vertical ground forces. And those vertical forces are perfect for jumps and lifts, not runs and sprints. But Pavel has said that swings can improve running too.
But yeah, we've had the kettlebell swing, for example, increase the performance of top marathon runners at the same time.
Which is horizontal, not vertical. Now we're getting into anecdotal data. And there's nothing wrong with that, as long as we can understand the variables and trust the source.
Can we trust the father of kettlebells? Nay, a Belarusian padre who came over to the US with nothing but his hopes, dreams, and 3 kettlebells in his knapsack, and wandered barefoot and shirtless from town to town just telling good folks about the benefits of the bell? I think so.
Okay, let's just say I believe him. Now I need a mechanism that's going to explain how it can improve running, but it might not. This is my threefold explanation. 1. The swing makes the glutes work. This relaxes the hip flexors and upper quads as you repeatedly go into extension. This is vertical displacement, true, but it sets up a better balance for horizontal displacement because in running you go forward through hip hyperextension. So what do you need for good hip hyperextension? You need strong, powerful, dominating glutes that fire to relax the hip flexors. So it sets the scene. It's a prerequisite. 2. The core is undeniably improved, especially because when you do it 2-arm, you focus on the rec ab, and when you do it 1-arm, you focus on the obliques. And longer duration swings encourage you to keep tension in the core while breathing, which is working the transverse abs. It's what Pavel calls breathing behind the shield. That'll definitely help running because it'll reduce leakage. 3. If you do it as an aerobic conditioning activity, that'll make you fitter, and the cardio improvement does translate. So why isn't this happening for everyone? Well, it ain't no slam dunk because the core is vital for leakage, but propulsion is governed by the glutes. 2-foot glute squeezes is a different pattern to running which requires 1-foot alternating glute squeezes. When one glute fires, the other relaxes. Bilateral patterning doesn't transfer much to unilateral patterning. Remember, squats don't help your pistol, but pistols help your squat. So I think that's why it's not a foregone conclusion it's going to improve your running or sprinting. It's just a high chance that it might. And if it doesn't, it's because you need to do the specific work on hip hyperextension to cash in. But let me tell you, if those bellas ever find a way to do a kettlebell swing into lunge and out again, repetitively, that will translate into running. and will also have an amazing transfer to sprinting.
Just taught Mrs. Miggins a swing lunge. Both World Records history.
Because you can swing my bag.
Uh-huh. Yep, just broke it. What? Give me that bell!
Now, to part 2 of the question. Is 32 kilos effective? I don't really know how to answer that. I can only assume that that's in comparison to another weight, which leads us to the concept that kettlebell weight exists on a spectrum. The heavier the bell, the more strength it requires to swing it. The lighter the bell, the longer you're going to be able to do it for. It's logical that if you're looking to increase force development, then do it heavier. Repeated sets of heavier bells will also improve conditioning, as long as you're doing it for at least 30 to 45 seconds. And again, it makes sense that swinging a lighter bell for 2 to even 20 minutes is going to have a greater transfer to running 1, 2 or even 3 miles. Your heart, lungs and posterior chain will be stressed in a transferable way. But as we've said, it might not show up in improved running performance if heart, lungs and posterior chain aren't your limiting factor. Your personal Silfaca OAP. If hip hyperextension, aka the split, is yours, then you'd be best following Mrs. Miggins.
Take a ticket and get in line, Oaks. She's so fast now, following's all anyone can do. Only way to catch her is buy my new video. Running, it's a swing thing. Combine that in a double order with lunging for clunge and Miggins' history.
Beating Megan's not guaranteed.